Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another weekly episode of Everything Vaguely Paranormal. As always, I am Blake Smith, and my partners in the paranormal, Miss Shelley Pruitt, Mr. Ryan Roberts, and of course, as always, we have our producer Brittany in the green room, pushing all the buttons and answering all your comments and questions. How are you guys tonight?
Good.
I'm ready to learn something because I have never been to the Boyd House, but it's now on my list after the little bit of research that I did.
I've never been to Minnesota.
Me neither.
let alone the book. It's like I was telling our guests, we're like their basement. I mean, they're like our attic. I mean, we know it's up there. We just forget about it. But once we get up there, we're like, oh wow, there's a lot of cool shit up here. I mean, it's kind of interesting. So, but anyways, well, let's jump right to it then. Let's bring her on because I'm excited to learn all about the Boyd House. So we are going to be speaking tonight with a paranormal investigator and founder of St. Croix Paranormal, as well as the owner of the Boyd House, Miss Jill Shelley. How are you, Jill?
I'm good. Hi, everyone. How are you guys?
We are doing fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. When you reached out, I was like, wait a minute, another haunted location I don't know about. I got to learn about it. It's got to be on my bucket list. So we're so glad that you did reach out to come on.
Yeah, glad to be here.
So tell us first, for us who haven't been to Minnesota, I have to change that. I'm sorry. Where is Boyd located at?
Well, it is 145 miles southwest of the Twin Cities in Minnesota. We're more on the southwest end, so we're about an hour from Brookings, South Dakota. We're pretty much a very, very small town. It's pretty much a cornfield, and then there's the town, and then more corn. So there's like 175 people in town. So very, very, very small town.
Very small town. Yeah, I did not realize it was that small. Wow. Okay. I mean, it's kind of like when we get past Dallas to the west. I mean, good luck seeing anything. Yeah, pretty much like, where Shelley's at, it's like not a damn thing out there.
Instead of corn, we got cows, though. It's nothing but cows as far as I can see.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about I want to hear first about your group, St. Croix Paranormal. How long have you been in the paranormal field, and how did that come about? How did your team come about?
Well, I've always just kind of been fascinated about paranormal, ghosts, everything since I was a wee little tiny kid. So I was just kind of weird. So as I got older, though, I started doing more research and just kind of studying up on ghosts and that kind of thing. But in 2010 is when I actually met a guy at my work who was into it, and we founded St. Croix Paranormal together. Even he's not with the team anymore. But in 2010, I just met more people who were really into the paranormal. So it's a group of 4 of us now where we're just basically family. We've been together for what 10, 12, 13 years now.
Wow.
So yeah. And so we just started out doing like small private homes, small businesses. And then we decided, hey, let's just take this on the road. So we started going to well-known haunted locations. So like our first place was the Villisca Axe Murder House.
Oh, that was place.
Yes, that was our very, very first place. And I tell you what, I'm way seasoned now to where like I can sleep anywhere in an asylum. It doesn't bother me. But this was my first place that I'd ever been. I was terrified to sleep, to be honest. But we had a great night. We had like a REM pod go off right away. When we got home, the EVPs we captured from there was absolutely phenomenal. I have never actually caught 2 ghosts speaking to each other.
Whoa.
So one of the little kids said, "Do you want to play?" And the other kid said, "No way." And then,
Wow.
And then we got like a EVP, and these were all Class A. Like I didn't even have to like tweak them or nothing. Now Lena was one of the children that was murdered in the house, and I heard many watching shows on the place that the psychic said that she likes to mess with the guests. She thinks it's fun. So we got actually EVP of the older boy, which I can't remember his name now, but it said, "No, Lena, no." So I don't know if she was doing something, to play games or mess with us. And then he was like, no, don't do that. But yeah, it was just, it was an incredible night. It was incredible. I was terrified though. I faced my teammate Krista, and I like do not turn away from me. We're gonna look at each other all night. But
I'm like, I was about to say your very first one, and you go to the Liska X murder house.
Yes.
I mean, that is like big cojones, balls of steel right there.
Oh yeah, like, it was amazing. Yeah, it was great. We went back, I think, another 4 years later. We didn't get quite the same experiences, but we still had a little bit of stuff. But yeah, it's just like I said. Now I fall asleep in asylums and places that are supposed to be evil. Like I was sleeping one time, and my other two teammates were experiencing like this demon-like creature, and they couldn't even come in the building, and I'm just sleeping right through the whole thing, like nothing's fazing me at all. So.
No offense, Jill. I would have come and woken you up, going, "Oh hell no."
Yeah. I thought it was funny because I hear on the voice recorders, because then they decided to go to a different part of the building, and they're like, "Do you think we should have left her there by herself? Maybe we should go back." And I'm thinking, maybe you should check on me.
I would have totally been your friend, and that would have been me going, "Should we have left her there?"
Yeah, well, no, don't let Shelley fool you. She'd have been asleep right next in the room next to you. That's what it was. Because Shelley, the one to your left, right, whatever. I don't know, to the right of you on the screen. Yeah, she's the one that like me and Ryan will be standing in a location, and we're like, "Oh yeah," right in front of the basement stairs or something. We're like, "This is a really cool place." So Shelley, and then we got to go trucking down to the basement to get her.
You'll see a blonde streak bobbing down the hallway. So.
Yeah. So don't let her fool you. She's gonna be right there sleeping wherever she needs to as well. So what other places? So that's your first one. So you went straight down into the dark deep end for your very first. Yeah.
Where do you go from there?
How do I what?
How do you top Villisca?
Oh gosh, there's so many places.
See, in my opinion, I think there is too, but I mean, Villisca's a pretty hefty one. I mean,
Villisca was good. We've gone on a lot. We've gone as far as Ohio. We've done Prospect Place, Gill House, a couple other places in Ohio. A lot of Indiana stuff. We've done quite a bit of that. Like this year, last year now, we went to Indiana State Sanitarium. Absolutely, hands down, amazing. So other than all the bats, that was pretty bad, but it was great. We had a lot of interaction, just like our little REM cat. And I'll tell you, like this, I have a REM pod that's looks lifelike like a cat, but acts just like a REM pod. Her name's Maddie because she looks pissed off, and I put her in an asylum. Who doesn't like a cat in an asylum? She went off like absolutely half the night. She was going on and off. It was just absolutely crazy. Somebody threw a half of a broken plate at my friend's head and missed it by just like that much.
Whoa.
And we all caught that on film. So that was crazy. It was cool. It hands down great experience we had.
Where did you get the kitty cat REM pod? I need one.
I believe it is Vortex Paranormal makes it.
Thank you.
Yep. They also make a dog too.
I was gonna say, Shelley's gonna walk away with she's gonna walk away with a stack of research notes that she's taking throughout this whole episode. Just so you know. So how did you then? So you formed your team. Y'all started going around and all that stuff. How did you come across the Boyd House? I want to get into this because I'm interested about this location. How did you come across this location?
Yeah, so traveling, doing all those places we've been to, that's where I got the idea. Like, boy, that'd be really super cool to have my own place that you can go and do all the research, and then you get to know the spirits because you're there all the time. So in 2018, financially, I was able to go ahead and purchase something, but you can't really nobody's advertising my house is haunted. So it's you just kind of got to go by gut. So the realtor I work with was the same when I purchased my home that I live in, because I don't live at the Boyd House. Knew what I did and what I was looking for. So I would just find something and she'd set it up for me to go do an investigation. So we went to other places, locations, but when I found the Boyd House just on the MLS listing, it was like immediate traction. Like I knew this is the house. This is the one. I don't claim to be psychic or anything, but I do get a lot of feels. So like when we are out investigating, it's like, I know when they're around, I can just feel it. And sometimes I just kind of know things, which sometimes trips me out, So it's not all the time, but just sometimes. But I just immediately attracted to the house. So we went down to do an investigation. They were running a little bit late, so we were just sitting outside, and Donna and I were just sitting, just eating some lunch in the car, and all of a sudden I just kind of looked at her. I said, kind of feel like something's looking at you. She goes, yep, from the attic window. I wasn't going to say anything. So, and so then we go in the house, and you could feel that something was there, but it was like really standoffish, almost like, because the house had been vacant for a year.
Mm-hmm.
But now, so these people are coming in. It's a small town, so it's not like, heavy traffic. People are looking to buy a house in this town. So yeah, you could feel something was around. So I did put a REM pod up in what's now the library, and that started going off within 8 minutes of being there. And then I was running the spirit box, and I had a woman say, "Who are you?" So that pretty validated on that. So then I kind of thought, well, I kind of had a good feel, but so do I sink my money into this? Let's see. So I reached out to a psychic medium I trust a lot, and she said, "Oh gosh, yeah, there's like 6 spirits there." She told me so many things that came true once I owned the house, like things that she wouldn't have known. She even said to me, which I didn't click until later. She said, the first night you spend in the house, you're gonna meet the guy who came, the gentleman who comes in from the backyard. So I didn't think anything of it, but we already had it pegged that I was gonna buy this house,
Yeah.
But so then at the same time, I'd be like, I'm sorry, I'm what?
Well, she wasn't wrong. She wasn't wrong either. That's the thing. But yeah, so then I reached out to the owners. I'm like, okay, like they lived there for 30 years. Something. They've got to have something. Let's see what they have to say. And how crazy is this buyer? Like, we're just going to ask you now if your house is haunted. So they kind of worded it like, it doesn't matter, but very important to my client. She doesn't want you to lie. She needs to know, is your house haunted? And the elderly couple. So they were real hesitant to even talk about it, because in their day and age, you talk about that, you're nuts. And so she just kind of slowly said, well, I always thought that house was kind of funny. So
that's all you need right there. That's all you're going to get from them too.
Yeah. And she said that she would sometimes hear old fashioned music playing. And then as we talked to the children, because some of them still live in town, that grew up in the house, they had several paranormal experiences. One in particular, one of the daughters did have a lot of stuff happen to her, and the whole town thought she was crazy. And now that we've been in and proven it, she feels so much better about herself, because she's like, I wasn't crazy.
A little vindication, yeah.
Yeah, and some people, you come up to us and tell them, like, hey, I spent the night over there one time, and something pulled my blankets off. Like, so we're getting stories being told back from, even, 20, 25, 30 years ago that people are getting stuff happening. So
what is a little bit of the history of the house like?
I was just about to ask that.
Well, yeah, we did some research on that. So the town itself was butted up against the Sioux Dakota reservation line. So there could be a lot of stuff back then. The history that we have with the town, it was that big booming Wild West town. So, they had the horses, the wagons. It was a giant town, compared to what now. I mean, they actually had a movie theater. They had a billiard and, bars and restaurants. And I mean, it was a big town. It was, the railroad stopped right there. And so there's probably a lot of stuff with the Native American stuff that was going on. And things that happen in town. I'm sure, people were shooting each other, it's back Wild West days. But the most history that we have on the house, so the house itself was built in 1901. So we had families living in there, nothing tragic, nothing happened. They bought it, moved on. But in 1912, the Eckert family moved into the house, and they were there till 1958. And both his wife, Fred, and Minnie lived there. They both passed away in the house. Minnie's funeral was held in the home for 3 days. So she was there. They had 2 children. One passed in infancy, and one, when he was, I believe, 3, choked to death in the house. And then we've had another lady in the 70s that passed away of a heart attack in the house. So nothing other than the child choking, tragic death. But we do have a lot of paranormal stuff pointing to the Eckert family still being there, such as Fred's here, Fred's coming. But he was a very, very well respected businessman in town. He had his own shop, and he was more of the higher end shop. So they sold like fur coats and fancy shoes and high end bologna and things like that. And he also helped build the church.
I'm gonna go get me some high end bologna.
I was just gonna say, I need to know what high end bologna is and where to get it.
That's why
That
they
sounds
don't put
good.
the snouts in it. Yeah.
That's my new band name.
High end bologna. Oh my God! Sorry, I couldn't resist.
Oh no, that
sounds like
good.
a perfect shopping trip for me.
Yeah, there you go.
Some bologna. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's Ryan's next podcast adventure is the
high-end
high-end bologna.
There you go. Go around, sample all different bolognas, tell them which ones to do.
Yeah, exactly. So is it just mainly the Eckert family that is there, or have you noticed other spirits coming around or being able to come in and speak or
who
do
are
things?
the spirits that haunt the Boyd house?
Well, like I said, we're pretty sure the Eckerts are there, but then we get some passerbyers, and I have asked, they're like, just passing through. But I think also everything that we do at the house, I think may have created some sort of beacon or something for other spirits to do it, plus, the railroad track, they run right through pretty much the backyard. So I don't know if that's creating some of the energy that's been brought in.
Mm-hmm.
We also have a lot of antiques in the house because we've brought it back to the 1900s. And so we have all vintage antique furniture. A lot of the dolls that we've purchased are supposedly haunted. I can't verify for sure that they are or aren't, but I'll tell you some weird stuff happens with them. And we also have a very haunted painting. We actually got that from a lady. So it's kind of a sad story, but it's creepy too. So we have this really weird painting that I can't even describe it. If you go like on our Facebook page or our website, you should be able to find it somewhere. We call it the monkey painting. And because there's a monkey in it, but it's all blue, and it's like the monkey sitting on the tree, but yet in the back there's a house, but then yet back another yard, and it's weird with red chairs. It's the creepiest, weirdest painting. Written around it is a story about monkeys on the frame, so you have to like turn it. Like I feel like we're reading an opening of when we're reading it. So
Shit.
I'm just like, when we first got it, I'm like, I don't think we should be doing that.
She's like, and then the ring of fire. Oh, okay, we're gonna stop.
But anyway, so she always just kind of weird feeling like she always felt like something was staring at her through the painting. Her husband became extremely obsessed with this painting. Like he hung it in his garage and would just stand there and just look at it for hours upon hours. Became very obsessed to the point he actually committed suicide in front of this painting.
Whoa.
So at that point, she wanted it out of the house. And so now we own it. So, but we have had a few things, like the very first day that we got it, we were doing an Estes session with Teresa, who is the most incredible Estes queen. I call her the Estes queen. Like I will sit and have 45-minute conversations like I'm talking to you with spirits. And I've had some psychics come up to her and say that she is a beacon and they are drawn to her. And she's very high energy. And so it's amazing that the conversations we have. But I just said, hey, what do you think of that monkey picture that we just put up? And it said, monkey, evil, get rid of it. That was the first thing that came out of this.
Wow.
So yeah, we get that like a lot of times. It'll say monkey every time we say, is there something evil in this house? It'll say monkey every time.
Wow.
I wonder what it has to do with the monkey painting.
I don't know. I don't get a weird vibe off of it or anything, but I also try not to stare at it too long because I don't want to get. I mean, it is a really like you could get lost in this picture.
Do you find that a lot of guests come in and stare at the painting and just like spend a lot of time in front of it?
They read the story underneath it, and then they like when they get to the part like, and here's the story on the side of the painting. They're like, oh no, I'm not even reading it, and then they walk away. They won't even read it.
So Jill, this. Please tell us where people who are listening or watching right now can go and see this. What is your website? Because now I like really want to see the monkey picture, but we're busy at the moment. So where would I go and see this?
Well, if we have any other, I'm not sure if we actually have those up on our website, those boydhouse217.com, but I do know we have some like our St. Croix Paranormal page, our YouTube page. You'll find some videos, so you probably see it back in there too. So it's creepy.
So earlier
Taking notes.
you said that a psychic told you were going to have an encounter with the man who comes in through the backyard. Your first night in the house. Can you tell us what that encounter went like?
Yeah. So I was like all excited, and it was getting late. I'm like, okay, well, nothing's happening. She didn't know what was going. She didn't know. And then I just happened to walk by the basement door, and as I was walking by the basement door, all of a sudden you heard bam, 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 like 3 really loud, like somebody was pounding on the other side. Of course, I jumped like 10 feet because I wasn't expecting it. And then now I got to debunk it. I'm like, okay, so I'm like rattling the door. I'm opening it because it goes down like 4 stairs, and then there's another door to go outside to the backyard. But it's like 2 double doors. There's a screen door in that. There was no draft and nothing like it. Even if it was a draft, not enough to make that bam, bam, bam. Like you literally would have had to pound on it to make that happen. And so that's what I took as a sign. And then interesting enough that as we got to find out later, so there's somebody, one of their kids can see things, and they said a lot of times, she just came up to me in confidence and she said, yeah, my daughter sometimes sees a man gardening in the backyard, and he comes in through the back door a lot. And she had no idea exactly what that psychic had said. And so that was crazy. And then so Fred Eckert's grandson actually still lives in town. And he's like in his late 70s. And so we had him over one day and told us all the story. And he's like, oh yeah, my grandpa, he's always out in the back. He gardened all the time. He loved to garden. He grew everything. And then I was just like, all right, now we got 3 things right there to verify. So that's from
different sources too.
Right. So it's really cool when you can get that validation and start putting things together. So it was great talking to him, because I got some stories that you aren't going to find in any history books. Like he did tell me Minnie had fallen down the stairs one time and broke her arm. And, you're not going to find that anywhere. And so I was running the spirit box, and I just said, hey, who fell down the stairs and broke their arm? I said, Minnie did. So it's like, just verifying different things. It's crazy. So
the grandfather's name is Fred, and do you get
everybody's name Fred? Yeah, because Fred, who's there, the one who died, he's like a Fred Jr. His dad was Frederick. Eric, so it's like one of those that just keeps going right on down the line. So yeah.
Oh, that's like my family with Williams and Richards. Good God. Yeah.
Bills and Dicks. Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry. That sounded dirty.
So it's not just that they're there, but it's not residual. It's obviously intelligent. I mean, if you're getting these kind of responses, is it every time like that, or do you see some residual stuff happening in the house as well?
I think some of the footsteps might be residual, but as far as the interaction, they are 100% intelligent. I get EVPs related to exactly what is going on. Like they might even be making a comment of what I'm doing, not even necessarily answering a question. I've asked on the spirit box too, like I have their wedding picture up in the bedroom, and I just one day was like, hey, is anybody up here? These guys on the wall right over here. And it said, do you mean the Eckerts? Like exactly. I didn't even say their name. I just was pointing to the pictures. So, and it was plain to say, not even where you're like, oh, did it kind of sound like, but it was real. I think one of my favorite EVPs I've gotten, so when I'm there, I talk to them like I'm talking to you. So when I'm cleaning, I might have a voice recorder running while I'm cleaning, but I'm usually just rambling on, If I've seen something that one of the paranormal groups, I'm like, hey, I saw when you touched their grandpa, then they got all scared. That was pretty cool. Things like that, like I'll talk to them like that. But I was just rambling on, like, I'm going to a wedding. You ever been to a wedding? So I'm just cleaning, and I just like nonstop chitter chatter. Which was probably not good because I covered up half the EVP with me talking. But when I did take a pause, I heard a woman say, I'm trying to sleep. So it's like, this poor lady, I'm like in leaning and yapping away. She wants to take a nap.
Man, that's going to be me as a spirit. And be like, oh, the fuck away. I'm trying to sleep. Good God.
You again? What?
Yeah. Because whenever they see that big old group of investigators coming in, the spirits in a location are like, Oh God, man, really?
I know. They're gonna ask us how we died. They're gonna ask us.
Touch
They're
this
like-
piece of equipment.
They're
Yeah.
like, God, can't they just read it? We've already told everybody 100 times. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
so over it. Is there anything in particular that you find works very well as a trigger object? Like if you maybe put out some fresh potting soil or some planting seeds somewhere, do you ever find that things will move? Like I'm fascinated with Fred now, knowing he's a gardener. I'm trying to think of all kinds of ways to potentially get Fred's interest. Does he move things for you, or any of them move things?
Well, we do bring a lot of different trigger objects, especially as we find things out. Like we found out that Minnie loved ferns and poinsettias, so we bought fake ferns and poinsettia plants. We put REM pods out. Boom, she's hitting on them. We actually had one where I was cleaning. We now have a shelf dedicated to all the fun stuff we bought Minnie that we thought she'd like, statues and all kinds of stuff. I was dusting, and as I picked it up, I heard like this electronic voice, like 2 words, and I'm like, but I couldn't make it out, but I knew somebody said, well, I thought Teresa had turned on the spirit box because she was cleaning in the kitchen, which is we're right pretty in real close proximity of each other. And it was all like a split second. Like I heard it, thought it was her. And she goes, "What'd you say?" And I go, "Okay." I go, "What did you hear?" And she's like, "I heard leave it." And I said, "Well, I was picking up the plant because I was cleaning." So we think Minnie was like just saying, "Hey, leave it." Like she didn't want us to take it. So yeah, we do get quite a few things, especially like when we ask the spirits, what they like, and they tell us, what kind of toy they want. Well, now I got to go buy it. So they get a lot of stuff. They ask a lot. So they get a lot of free gifts. But they have knocked over quite a few objects. My favorite when we're talking about moving objects is that particular day I had a REM pod down in the basement. And I heard that they love to play cards, or Minnie and Fred, they love to play cards. So we just thought, okay, let's go down and play a card game. And the REM pod was going on and off half the night. And I don't know a darn thing about poker, but I'd come down there every hour or so and I'd shuffle the cards, redistribute it, and say, aces are wild, kings are this. And I'm just throwing out jargon. I have no clue. So, but I had all these coins out too. Like I had bought all these old coins and I said, "This is the grand prize right here. This is what we're buying for." But then I had put one card to the edge of the table. It was never hanging off. It was just strictly right on the edges so I could line it up with the edge of the table. So if I knew it had been moved. And I told them every time, I'm like, "Hey, if you've enjoyed tonight's card game, just throw this card off. You'll let me know." And every time I came down there, it was still never moved. Well, midnight was my last time down there. Said the same thing. "Good night. If you like today's fun activities, just go ahead and throw that off." 15 minutes later, that card flew off that table. I caught it on film. I was so excited. But when I came down and I saw the card laying on the floor, I picked it up and I was jumping up and down going, "Oh, thank you." And I didn't know if I had captured it on film or not, but I did. So it was pretty cool to do that. But yeah, they've moved other objects for other people. They actually play 21 with a K2 meter. It's absolutely insane. Like they're spot on. I don't know, but they are spot on. Like they'll use that K2. They'll hit it when they want to hit. If they don't want to hit and stay, they won't touch it. So one day I thought, well, when we do this, I'm going to run the spirit box at the same time. And we were doing 20, playing 21 blackjack. And I just said, "Well, you want to stay? What do you want to hit? You want to split? What do you want to do?" And they said, "We'll stay." It was just, yeah. So yeah, they're totally intelligent. They know what's going on.
That's a powerful moment whenever you can me and Shelley and Ryan as well. We have played blackjack with the spirits of 2 locations here in Texas, the Old Park Hotel and Hill House Manor, and very much the same. We turn on that spirit box.
Yeah, Miss Molly's as well. Yep.
And we turn on that spirit box, and it's amazing when you can get that going. When you can get them to do hit, stand, or whatever. I mean, we had one at Old Park when it was we had the madam. We were playing with her, and we were like, "What do you want to do?" It was me and Shelley sitting across from each other, and we had just thrown the cards out. We're like, "What do you want to do?" And she just screamed through the spirit box. She's like, "I'm out." We were like, "Okay, sorry."
I've been called a cheater when I beat them before. They're like, "You cheat, you're a cheater." No, I'm not. You just
Yeah.
have crappy cards.
Yeah.
Now-
So what? Go ahead, Ryan.
I say, have you seen Fred or Minnie or any other spirit in the home?
I personally have not, which really sucks because my husband died and he's not really even into ghost stuff. So, but you know, he loves helping me and he loves watching the stuff that I do, but it's not really his thing. But he was helping do stuff, and he came in through the front door, and he just happened to look up at the stairwell, and he said there was a lady standing there. She had white on, but she was wearing like, you know, her hair was like the same length and almost same color. She's like, for a second, I thought it was you. Did a double take, gone. So I was like, he's like, that was one. And then he had woken up one time. So now he's had two things. I've had zero. But he said he woke up to somebody yelling at him, and he thought it was me, like calling for help or something. And then he realized that no, I'm next to him sleeping. And then he kind of looked at the edge of the bed, and he said he saw like this almost. Oh, he described kind of like as a cloaky figure, almost with like a skeleton kind of look to it.
Whoa.
And he goes like when they locked eyes, it went straight up into the ceiling. And so, yeah, so he's had two things that he saw. And my one friend has seen a shadow figure peeking out through the kitchen. And my other friend had something climb into bed with her. But other than that, I mean, I've been in touch.
You know, just casually climbing into bed.
Yeah, she's just like, I just climbed into bed. But other than that,
Yeah, which room is that? That's where my wall where I come up there. Come on, baby, right here.
Yeah, we actually just had so when we first bought the house, we didn't have furniture and stuff, so we were just sleeping on air mattresses down in the main area. And my friend felt like a child type figure crawl into bed, kind of snuggle up to her. And she said, at first I thought it was you, like you were scared and you climbed into bed with me. I'm like, when have I ever done that? She goes, yeah, then I went like this and realized it wasn't you.
you weren't there.
Yeah, so, but we did just have a team actually, and brave souls, they slept in the basement. So, yeah, I guess he at like 3 or 4, I think it was like 4:00 in the morning. You know, they had I think he had like a cot, but he said he felt like an army crawl, like arm, knee, knee, arm, knee, knee on the bed. And he like flipped out, got up and stuff. And obviously he didn't have any cameras running or nothing, but yeah. So he had that happen to him.
So you said brave souls to stay in the basement. Do you have anything there that you would consider more on the aggressive or negative side of things?
No, not really. You know, we have like one in the basement, George. He's kind of just an ornery old guy, you know. But nothing like, we don't have anything malevolent. You know, we
Gotcha.
might just have that more grumpy type stuff. I just more because, you know, there's spiders and stuff down there.
So not necessarily the malevolent, it's just the older guy that's like, get off my lawn.
Yeah,
that kind of guy.
Yeah, we've been fighting with him for a while. So, you know.
So would you consider that the most haunted room in the Boyd house? Or is there another room that you feel is the most haunted area? Tell me where the most haunted area is. That's where I want to go.
Depends on the day. It really does. It depends on the day. Sometimes the attic is crazy. You know, sometimes, you know, then you go back up there, you get nothing. So they just move around, and just where they are for the day, you just got to figure it out. So, you know, I've gotten an activity in every room of the house, and we even have like an under crawl space that we didn't know was there for the first year I owned the house. So when the kids who grew up there showed up, they're like, hey, do you ever get anything in that room underneath by the bathroom? I'm like, what room? They're like, didn't know? Like, come on, I'll show you. And it was all blended in, and they pulled open this door, and it was like this really nice, big, huge crawl area.
Wow.
You know, she's like, yeah, we used to play school in here when we were kids and stuff. And so now we've cleaned it out and put a couple chairs in there so people can go in there too. So, and I even gotten stuff in there. People have gotten stuff in there. So yeah, it don't matter. I actually got an EVP in there. I opened the door, and we have a young boy. I think his name is John, because we just broke through and made some communication last week. And he said, don't hurt me, when we opened the door. So we kind of heard from the psychic that his older sister kind of watches over him, and he's pretty shy and pretty scared. But we did make a breakthrough last week talking with him, so I was pretty excited about that. So now I have to buy him a truck. So there's that.
I like how like the kids used to play school down there. They're like, yeah, we started with 3 students, but all of a sudden we had 6 out of nowhere. We don't know where they came from.
Have you ever had anything follow you home from the Boyd house?
No, not from the Boyd house. Actually, I haven't had anything follow me home from any of our investigations. I get pretty, make sure you stay. You can't follow me, that kind of thing. There's been a couple times my other teammates have forgotten to say that, and they had some uninvited guests, but they sent them back to where they came from. But yeah, me personally, nothing.
Yeah, it's not fun. 10 out of 10 definitely don't recommend. No.
Yeah.
Like it's not the best thing when something comes home with you.
No, and I, as much as I love investigating and have my own haunted location, I just don't want to live with them. So it's
No.
That's exactly it. Why I want to investigate my own house. I'm like, no.
Like y'all can stay over there. I'll stay over here. I'll come visit, but you can't come with me.
Yeah, my last house before I moved into where I'm at now, it was built in the 1800s. A lot of it was actually on Native American land, and it was crazy the amount of activity I get, but I kept it at bay. Like we made a deal, like if I don't want you around, you're just not going to do stuff. Like, and I'd be working on my computer, I could just feel them come up, and I'm like, not today. And then you just kind of feel it back off, that kind of stuff. And then it was funny because when my granddaughter was over, so I wouldn't investigate my own house because I didn't want to know. A couple of times I'd run a few things, and I'm like, no, you know what? No. And then, but she came over and she was, I don't know, maybe 5. And she goes, hey, Grandma, who's the guy on the back porch wearing that black hat? And I'm like, I don't know, but I grabbed a voice recorder.
Another reason why I do not have kids. Because if they came and looked at me and said, Daddy, I saw a woman in my, nope.
You didn't.
No, you didn't. Because I'm like you, Jill. I'm like, I will go hunt every location you can possibly think of. I don't want to come home to it. I don't want to live in it.
Exactly.
So, Jill, you said that you were that weird child, all into the paranormal. What was your first paranormal experience? I have to ask. That's like my favorite question.
Oh, yeah. I would say my grandma's house. They built the house, so I don't even know why, but there's one room they had. It was always cold, you always felt like somebody was staring at you. Like I didn't like it in there, especially it was the closet. And she just had like a, because, back they didn't really have a lot, but they just had a curtain over the closet, door for the door. And it's like, even though it was half open, I just felt like somebody was like, staring at you. And I hate it. I hardly ever played in there. And even if I had to get something, I'd run in real quick and then run back out. But one particular night we were sleeping. So it was just me in the one room. My parents were in a different room. My grandma sleeps downstairs. I woke in the middle of the night and I heard footsteps coming out of that room and stood in front of my door. And I could feel like this energy, like burning through me, almost like it, you get that feel when someone's staring at you, you're just like, that's kind of the feel I got, except it was intensified like 100 times. So I'm a kid and I am not looking. I'm not looking. I'm terrified now. I'm not looking. So then you hear the footsteps, like turn around, go back in the other room. And then I just like threw the blankets over my head and waited for morning, basically.
See, you guys, those covers are magic. You pull them
They are
just fine. Thank you, Jill.
Yes, it makes everything better.
That's right.
So then, anyway, I knew it was my parents. I could hear them snoring the whole time. So I just didn't even bother asking them. But I mentioned it to my grandma, who I really looked up to, very religious woman, but she just like all nonchalant, like, oh gosh, honey, that's just a ghost and he ain't gonna hurt you. Oh,
Grandma didn't care. She's just telling you.
Yeah. She's just blowing it off, like no big deal. I'm like, okay, well now I'm really fascinated. Like, what is the deal with these ghosts? So then I just had tons of more questions. And it just kind of escalated from there into what I do today. So I think that kind of shaped me into what I believe in and just how I do things.
So that leads me to my next question. Jill, what's your ability? Because obviously you have one.
Oh, I don't know. Like I said, I think I just get that feel, or I just kind of know where to, like, I guess I don't really notice it, but a lot of times when we investigate, people's, my teammates are like, well, where are we going to go? I'm like, why do I have to pick, because I always feel like I'm the one. And they're
she's
like,
our Shelley. She's our Shelley.
You just seem to know where to go for the activity.
Yes.
So we just go there, and then just tons of things work out for me. I guess.
Shelley didn't like to admit it, but me and Ryan say that Shelley's got a sniffer. Like that's just the way that we put it. You can walk her right through the front door or something, and she is off, and she will take you right to the room, and then we'll come to find out it's like, oh yeah, this is where a triple homicide with the suicide took place, and then that's where they drew the pentagram and summoned the demon. And it's like, oh, Shelley was right on top of that.
It's like
so go ahead.
So we were in Mansfield at the Ohio State Reformatory, and Shelley, just like the biggest freestanding cell block in the world, Shelley walks up the stairs and goes right to the cell where the guy set himself on fire. Never been there before. Like, she goes into the room. I walk past. I look at the plaque. The plaque says, "This is the room where the guy set himself on fire." She never saw it, never knew. Just went straight to it. So
you're the bloodhound, Jill?
What's that?
Are you the bloodhound like I am, Jill?
I get that. Yeah, these things draw me to it. It's like I just feel like I have to go over here, So it's like I don't know why. I just go that way.
Do you find you encounter more negative or positive spirits?
I would say more positive. We also try. We also try not to do a lot of stuff that has like negativity to it. Just we've been to a couple places like that. And it just really messes with your psyche, just your overall feel while you're there. We don't like that. That's not what we're into. We want to communicate with, friendlier spirits. And we spend a lot of time with those spirits, not necessarily focusing on their death, but we like to focus more on their life. So we ask crazy questions like, where would you wanted to go on vacation that you didn't get to go? Just crazy stuff, favorite colors, what's your meals, what can we do for you? What would you want us to bring for you next time? Just anything, we just don't really want to focus on this. Who wants to talk about how you died? Let's just talk about the good times,
Well, I think that's an important aspect that a lot of paranormal investigators, and I know myself, I've been guilty of it, is that you focus too much on the horrific aspect of the afterlife, the death, and the negative ones and the aggressive ones, and why are you so aggressive, that continuing that conversation is something that why we do what we do, is learning about these spirits in these locations. So I think that's really cool that you do that. I forget every now and then. Sorry.
It's not like I haven't asked how you died either, but and I like to focus a lot of my stuff now. I like to, who doesn't, but focus on like what's going on over there, like what's the other side like tell me what you can. So we're kind of gathering some research and finding some things that are consistent with some of the same answers. So it's been very interesting. So I'm not afraid to die anymore. So that's a good thing.
People do forget the people aspect of it because they are people. They just don't have a body. And if you talk to them like you're having a regular conversation, I think you'll get more than, like you said, asking how'd you die. What the horrible things you would ask them. So
yeah.
So what would you say is your scariest paranormal experience?
I think probably like one of our scariest things, I think, usually brings me to Whispers Estate in Mitchell, Indiana. That house is crazy. We just vowed not to go back. We did actually go back without a few people who wouldn't go back, but it wasn't the same. So the first time we went, it was the energy in there was incredible. Like we constantly were doing this, like wiping our face, everybody, like you thought everybody, cobwebs all over, you just felt it. It drove one of our investigators outside for the entire night because he almost felt, he kept feeling like this on the back of his neck, the tingling, and he like couldn't handle it. He's like, I'm out, I'm out, can't even be in here. We saw wet footprints coming up from the back of the stairs going outside. And then the big main thing that happened, there's a closet up there. It's called Virgil's Closet. Virgil was a man who was a caretaker. And he was always kind of crabby guy anyway, but the day he retired, he dropped out of a heart attack in front of this closet. So now he's really pissed off because, he thought he was going to retire. And now he's stuck at Whispers Estate.
Yeah, I'd be a little ticked off myself.
So he's very violent. He scratches people, pushes people to get locked in this closet. Now, when I'm talking closet, this is like a big walk-in. Like there's actually a table and chair sitting in there, and you can go back a little farther. But the door locks with you kind of just, the kind that you pick it up and drop it and then drop it back down. So people are getting locked in. So how is that even happening? It's insane. So of course, we have to go in the closet now. So that's what we did. And so we're in the closet. Teresa's sitting on the chair. I have this voice in my head that said, get out of this closet. And it was a man's voice. But I also have a paranoia because I always have this fear of like getting shut in and locked in something. And it's like, I can't deal with it. So I just thought, well, I'm just being paranoid. I'm just going to step out of the closet, not say a word to Teresa. No big deal. So as we're running the spirit box, it said, shut this door. And we didn't do that either. And so seconds later after that, Teresa and the chair come flying about 4 feet across the room, and she lands on her hands and knees.
Holy shit.
So yeah, so
Wow.
she was totally freaked out by that. So I think that was at that moment, that was the first time I've actually ever seen a spirit physically. I mean, we've been scratched, touched a little bit, but to be physically thrown and see your friend have that happen to was kind of an eye opener. Like, oh, these guys can really mess with you. So you really need to do a lot of respect.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was probably a pretty intense, scary moment.
Yeah, when you see somebody go, flying across the room, whew, been there, all three of us. Well,
Yeah.
actually, we didn't see it until after the fact because me and Shelley were doing, we do a dual Estes is what we do.
Okay.
And to where basically like both of us, usually it's Ryan leading, me and Shelley under. And that gets very, very interesting whenever you start pinging off of each other and you start having kind of a conversation when you're both doing the Estes. But yeah, in the middle of that, we had one of our guests completely just go flying over backwards in a chair too. Yeah, that's of course we didn't see it till after the fact because we couldn't hear anything, we couldn't see.
Well,
right,
yeah, blah blah blah. And she's being flung over
I
here.
will tell you, someone who was in the moment, it was pretty damn scary. So
yeah. So what does the Boyd House offer to paranormal teams? Do you do overnights? Do you do special events?
Yeah, we offer private overnight investigations. So we allow you to bring up to 8 of your friends if you want to bring up to that. We do $200 a night, which is really reasonable.
Oh yeah.
And we let you have it from 3 p.m. till noon the next day. I like to offer people a nice time. You can get in, get set up, have some dinner, investigate, get some sleep before you got to drive home. So yeah, we do that. We're fully furnished and we have heat. We have window air conditioners. So we're 365. If in the winter, you got to brave it. Can be super cold, 25 below zero. Woo. Sometimes if it's really snowy, the roads are closed and you ain't getting in or out. So you take a chance when you come in the winter, but we actually are really busy in the winter, which really surprises me. So
They're hoping they get snowed in and can't leave. And like, look, we got to stay another day.
There you go. Oh, we get a free night. So sorry.
Sorry, we can't. They'd be like, but Jill, we can't go anywhere.
Road's
You'd be
closed.
like,
What do you want me to do?
no, you'd be like, I have my own snowplow. Hop in, let's go. No, that's I would say your location then is a paranormal investigator's dream location because it sounds like you have heat and air, beds to sleep in, electricity, potties.
Two potties.
Oh, two potties.
2 potties, bonus potty.
Yes.
I'm like, because we all four know on the screen, as well as Brittany in the green room, our producer, we all know you don't luck out like that every time. Most of the time.
No, sometimes if they don't have a bathroom, I'm not going.
There's
I'm
locations
too old
we
for
like.
that. I can't be
Yeah,
doing that.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
locations we like. You have to go down the block.
yeah, you got to drive down to the gas station. I'm like, I'll be down there all night. I'll be there in 15 minutes. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, half the time you go investigate. Don't let it fool y'all, people who are watching, our viewers and listeners, or what the four of us are talking to on the screen. It does sound lovely when there's air and electricity and a bed and a potty. 9 times out of 10, you don't have that.
9 times out of 10, you don't even have one of those.
No.
So that is awesome. And so, how many rooms are in the Boyd House?
So the basement has like two main areas. Upstairs is the kitchen, the living room, the parlor, and that's on the main floor. And then upstairs is the kids' room, the main bedroom, our little library, and the boys' room. And then we have an attic that runs the full length of the house.
Awesome.
And it's a
And
finished attic, so you can get up there.
I think we have a picture of the front of the Boyd house that you sent us. If Brittany, if you'll throw that up so that our viewers and listeners can see what it looks like, at least we should have one from the. I think she's getting to it. There we go.
Yep.
So
that looks creepy.
Yeah, that's the front of the house there. So that tarp we got rid of, that's gone now, which makes it even more creepier. But yeah, that's a basic shot of the side view of the house in the summertime.
So it's that attic window up at the top that you were saying that you and the realtor were sitting up front, and she's like, "Yep, from that attic window, I can feel it."
Yeah, from the attic, and we actually have people sometimes say they'll see people shadows and stuff up there, looking out the windows and things like that. Oh. So, and the lights will come on when nobody's there. Guess that they know it's a small town. They know if somebody's actually spending the night there or if nobody's there.
Yeah.
So.
And then I think we also have a picture of the back of the house, so you can see what the back of the house looks like that you had sent us. Let's see if we can't get that up, or that might be the side.
Yeah, that's the side view where you can see where that light's coming through. That's actually where Minnie's coffin was for 3 days before they buried her.
Lovely.
So it being a small town, do you ever catch any crap from some of the locals about running a haunted venue?
Well, usually I hear it through hearsay, or comments on the internet. But half of them are on board with it. They think it's cool, and the other half think I'm just in it for making some money. And there's no such thing as haunted ghosts. Yeah,
the church faction thinks you're going to hell, right?
Yeah, and we're kitty corner from the church, so we got that going for us.
Lovely. I bet they love what you do.
Oh, well, they just had a new family move in across the street, and she's got little kids, and I often think, I wonder what she thought when she found out later after she bought her house that, I live across the street from this haunted house. What? So it's like.
She's like, look, it's either a haunted house or they're running a really good drug facility over there, because there are a lot of cars coming and going all the time.
Sunday morning, everybody dragging out, looking like hell, no sleep, hair mess, stinking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good times.
Oh,
Good
man.
times. Let's see. I'm looking for.
So, who would you say? Now, I know you said you've gotten Fred, obviously the Eckert family and all of that kind of stuff. But for paranormal investigators who want to go, their teams like us, because it's on our bucket list now. We have to go.
Yeah, sure.
Who's the one that's always just going to come through, no matter who's like that go-to spirit, that one that doesn't matter what day or night, they're always going to show up. They're never going to disappoint. They're always going to give you a little piece of an evidence.
I would say both Fred and Minnie. They both kind of come around. Fred's more. He gets to a point where he's like, "I'm done. I'm over this. Okay, we're done now." I think Minnie is more intuitive, and she enjoys the company of some people. So it's not everybody she's going to talk to, but I think she comes through quite a bit. Plus, and I talk to them too, and they're like, everybody just loves talking to you. So it's like, so I appreciate that. But I also did have a medium tell me that Minnie does really enjoy conversing and interacting with the spirits that come through, and that she really likes me, and she wishes she could be more like me, but because she says I say things that she can't say, which I'm sure in a modern world, the way I speak to my husband is probably no way you would do that back in the day. And so I'm pretty sure that's why she's like, look at her go. So it's like,
I don't know if we should go. She might think Shelley's a harlot the way that she talks to some people. She'll be like, listen, we're going to leave. You're going to get the review from Minnie. That's what it's going to be. She's going to be like, listen, that last team that you had in here, that blonde chick. Woo-hoo. Yeah.
Now, you said when they get done, do they just pretty much stop communicating, or will they tell you, like, over the spirit box, like, leave, like, we're tired, or anything like that?
You'll get that too, or just all activity will cease. They kind of tend to be active like right when you get there for a while, and then it kind of calms down, then it picks up again, and then it kind of stops until very early in the morning. I get a lot of stuff very early in the morning. That's those times I've actually heard women talking in the kitchen. Like we have the old floor grates, so you can see down to the next level. You can hear, but I just would wake up in the morning and I can hear women talking and doing stuff down in the kitchen. I've gotten up in the middle of the night and I hear banging in the kitchen because our kitchen is more of like a 1950s kitchen. So all of our cabinets are that old tin, that old metal. So it's a very distinct sound. So I sometimes will hear that slamming in the middle of the night. It's just all kinds of stuff that just goes on.
So is there anything that people are not allowed to do in the Boyd house for, say, like Ouija boards, seances? Is there anything that you're just like, nope, don't bring that in here?
Just basically anything satanic. When we first started, I was very against the Ouija board. I've kind of just resolved my feelings about it. And then, so we got a Ouija board and we put it up in the attic, and some people played with it. I also creep people out because I put all my dolls around it like they were playing it. So that
That'd be the shit I do.
and, so yeah, but because we have security cameras now, and so I see a lot of people getting very upset that the Ouija board is there. So we have since put it away. And not necessarily for an evil thing. I felt that there were more people who were freaking out about it being there than there were like, hey, who cares? So just to keep the peace, we just put it away.
Yeah, that's such a controversial piece. Me myself, I won't do anything with them. I try to stay away from them. But some people, like you just said, you put it in there. Some people like to use it as a means of contact. Everything that we're doing with whatever piece of equipment is all the same thing. Doesn't matter what you're using.
That's what my friend said. I'm like, and I even said that years ago when I was running the spirit box. I'm like, this is just a portable Ouija board, I think. So it's no different with the communication. So that's why I was like, let's just put it up there. But it's put away. But if somebody found it, hey, they can take it out. So. It's not hidden that bad, but out of the way. You'd have to look for it.
I'll leave it in the closet where it's at. Thanks. Right. So REM pod, spirit box, EVPs. Is there anything in particular that maybe a piece of equipment that you haven't had brought in there that may yield different results? Maybe some type of
SLS camera,
geoport.
Oh yeah, we've used those. We used the SLS. It was really cool. We had just gotten a Victrola. One of my friends gave me her grandmother's Victrola. We had all the music in, and so we set it up, and I had the SLS running. We're playing. I'm just kind of scanning it around the room. I'm like, hey, show up. We got music. We got tunes. Let's come down and dance and stuff. And eventually a stick figure showed up in the corner, and then it started tapping its hand and foot to the beat of the music that was playing.
That's cool.
And then eventually it ended up sitting in the chair, and then it had its legs crossed and it was tapping to the beat of the music again. So that was really cool. And then we were like, okay, well, we're done now. We're going to go do something else. But I still had the camera running and everything. And we had taken the crank out of it because we just don't want people to wreck it. It's a very old Victrola. But I came back to go get something, and I was looking at the camera screen, and all of a sudden there is a stick figure standing in front of the Victrola going like this and like looking like where's the crank, like they wanted more music. So I was like, oh my god, they still want us to play. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, we actually had another team too catch SLS of somebody in the chair, and in the chair their K2 and REM pod was sitting on the chair. It was going off at the same time, and you could see the SLS sitting with it. So that was really a really cool validation too.
I find it really interesting, and I'm just gonna, because I don't think you've been to this location, but I'm finding it very weird how many parallels there are to Old Park Hotel in Ballinger, Texas. You definitely don't have the aggression like they do. They have some very aggressive spirits there.
Well, we haven't been there yet. Who knows?
Trust me, if you have anything negative and Shelley walks in,
I'll find it.
You're gonna know it. She'll find it. It's just gonna latch right onto her out of nowhere. But yeah, with the Victrola, we've had things with the Victrola down there. The playing blackjack. It's just kind of interesting because
the crabby old man at the end of the
the crabby old man
the workshop.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's very interesting. I have a feeling that we would like the Boyd House. I think it would remind us a little bit of Old Park. We need to go get to know her spirits. So if anybody wants to book, do you have like a calendar or anything that they can go look at? How did they book? They go on. Shelley's going to take notes real quick.
I've been taking notes this whole time. You say,
damn, Shelley.
Just go to our website at the boydhouse217.com. It's got all the information you need there. And then our calendar of what's available is up there. So usually just have you submit a contact form, or you can shoot us an email of a date that's open. Then I'll verify, yes, it is or isn't. We keep it up to date as much as possible, but sometimes I can't get to it for a couple of days. So
yeah. Do you do weekends? Do you do weekdays? Does it matter? Is it open all year round?
365 days a year. So yeah. So you can reschedule too if something comes up. We're not opposed to that because I know life changes. Just hit me up and just say, hey, we don't do refunds, but we will reschedule anytime. So
no. Awesome.
I know what I want for Christmas.
No, not Christmas. We're not going in winter. She said rose clothes.
Yeah.
But what if we get stuck? That would be terrible.
Darn.
Although we've got a couple of commenters right now saying Christmas at the Boyd House. So
there you go.
Thank you.
That was Thomas. Yes.
Thomas, you sexy thing. You come on.
Was there anything that we haven't asked you about the Boyd House that we have to know that is the secret of the Boyd House?
Oh, I don't know. We just call it like a kind of like an elegant, creepy way to spend the night with ghosts. So that's just kind of how we sum up the house.
Geez, all of our descriptions are like, come be thrown across a room by some aggressive spirit. Yeah. Come be scratched. Like,
be called
names. What elegant
be called names.
Looks like. Is that like, with the Bozo the Clown mask shredded, but he has the cigarette with the extender on it going, I don't know what elegant yet creepy looks like, but I'm very interested to find out.
I was going to say, we have to go find out because this sounds like a place that we would have. Well, we would dig it, but it sounds like a place that's unlike any other that we've been to because everywhere else we go has aggression and negativity. Yeah.
And again, we haven't been there yet. She might have it.
That's true. I mean, we have some people say there is some stuff, but I personally haven't experienced, and I think it's real minimal of the ones that people get, and it just depends on what people consider aggressive versus was it really grumpy. I mean, I don't know how experienced somebody is.
Yeah,
that kind of stuff too. So. And just a lot of different factors, but it's a good place to go, especially even for beginners. We actually, one thing I want to mention too is we put together. That's mostly stuff I don't use anymore, or stuff that's really outdated. So we kind of put together a little shelf of beginner ghost investigator equipment, so people can have like a K2 meter. We actually have a spirit box there, voice recorder, motion detector, little mini REM pod, just things that people, if you're there and you don't have ghost equipment, then if you don't have equipment, sometimes you're not going to get anything or know anything's around. So this way it'll give somebody a way to just do a little bit of investigating on their own too.
I love that. Because
awesome.
We try and do that too with some of the, when we bring some of the public members in, we let them use our equipment. I love that you have it there already. So, because that's the biggest thing is, do we need a ghost hunting equipment? You don't, but I mean, it helps.
It'll be more fun if you have it.
It'll be a little more fun if you do, but all you really need is your body and your phone camera. Yeah, you're good. That's it. And a flashlight. Yeah, so you don't
gotta have the flashlight.
Yeah, tripping down into the
35 of flashlights.
Yeah. You don't want to be one of the ghosts. You want to look for it.
That's right. Right.
Exactly. Well, y'all, any final questions for Jill while we have her here?
I've had a lot of fun having you on, Jill.
Yeah,
I'm so excited to get to come to the Boyd House, and yeah, guys, that's gonna have to be on our list because I gotta go meet Minnie and Fred, and I gotta go hang out with them.
Yeah, I'd love to have you guys out.
We're planning a little haunted gauntlet possibly up towards that way, so we might just have to extend it a day and go on to the Boyd House and hit that one when we're up there. So
perfect. Love to have you guys out. I definitely come down and meet you too.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You're welcome anytime down here.
Absolutely. Well, hang tight with us for just a second. Let us get everything wrapped up here, and then we'll thank you properly and we'll excuse class. So, well, whatever social media channel you're watching us on, make sure that you follow us across the board. We got a lot of things that are coming up that are going to be exclusively to those social media channels. For a quick link to all of that, go find the Linktree link in the description of our episodes or the About Me or Bio sections of our social media pages. Be taken directly where you want to go. Our public investigations, all of our social platforms, as well as our Patreon channel. That is just $5 a month. And right now you get just under 100 extra videos of us being absolutely stupid. That's all you get. And as always, any stories, comments, or questions that you have, those can be submitted to the evppod@gmail.com. That's THEEVPPOD@gmail.com.
And like, share, and subscribe, and make sure that you go to the Boydhouse217.com or St. Croix Paranormal on YouTube to check out all those great pictures and help out Miss go see everything that Miss Jill Shelley's been telling you about tonight.
Absolutely.
So all right, thank you.
And make sure you go and follow them as well and give them a shout out too. But for myself, we are Everything Vaguely Paranormal. My name is Blake Smith. My partners in the paranormal, Miss Shelley Pruitt, Mr. Ryan Roberts, and as always, Miss Brittany in the green room, our producer, pressing the buttons, making us look good. And Jill, thank you again so much. Jill Shelley with the Boyd House. We appreciate you coming on, and we hope that you have had fun. We have had a blast with you.
Yes, it was great. Thanks for having me on. I had a good time.
Awesome. Well, as always, y'all, we will see you next Tuesday.
All right.